welcome to another episode of RJ Analog Garage. Today we're going to work on a 1963 Citroen 2CV. Some call it the Deux Chevaux. Very cool little, interesting little car. It's only 2 cylinders and 600 cc's, so definitely not a speed demon. And it's got a problem. It's got the front brakes, or the handbrake I should say, is dragging. And on little cars like these especially, when your brakes get overheated, your brake fluid will boil and your brakes will fail. Luckily enough, we have an owner's manual for this car. The owner of this car is very detail oriented and he brings us everything we need. We service a lot of his cars, and it's just he's a great client, and we hope you will enjoy this episode. One of the unusual things about this car is you have to take the fenders off in order to get to the brake calipers and see what's going on here. So we'll get started on that here in a minute. So as process demands, we start with putting together our tool table. What type of wrenches, sockets, nut drivers we think we might need for this job to start this project off. And we will go from there. All right, let's get started. So the paint on this car is still really good, so we're going to be very careful and cognizant if we don't bump or chip the paint. We're going to use our protective bath mats, as we lovingly call them, because they are really very much better option than a lot of those store-bought ones where there's rubber or vinyl, and do a much better job really for the money. We're going to need an extra long socket to get to this first bolt here, and we will get started. These fenders have been off before. You can tell just by everything comes off the car fairly easily. It's nice to have that option or have that available to you. There we go. The big bolts. Got everything else in the middle here. Now it's time just to take the smaller bolts off. We're going to use a nut driver for most of them. Yeah, 8mm. Just flange right off of here. Well, we're gonna have to switch to a little 1/4-inch ratchet with an 8mm on it to get to this bolt under here. It's in a kind of a tight spot, so no big deal. You just gotta. Of course, it is good to keep your parts together on your parts trays. All right, we got the bolts out of the little skirt here. We'll put this in a really safe place where. Another big bolt down in here. Again, staying with, keeping as far away from the vehicle as possible. You don't screw anything up, as I think this thing's already coming apart here. And it looks like we got a little rectifier that needs to be removed so we can take the fender completely off. And it just looks like it's held on by a Phillips head screwdriver. All good. Alrighty, that's the ground here. Little rectifier. Let's keep that out of the way. Yeah, that's what happens anytime you drop a bolt, a nut, whatever, you retrieve it right away. That way you know where it went and you got it back. Everything has, is still in play. Disconnect the headlight here, it looks like. Scooch it right out. Be careful not to scratch the paint. Very kind of tight fit. That's okay. It's kind of expected in projects like this. You got to fold it over a bit. Get it out. There we go. We have a fender off a Duchevaux. Here we go. Fender number 2. Off it goes. Okay, that's the upper look on the caliper. The spring and the cable is what actuates the handbrake. And the little disc is where the pads are located. We're gonna have to take the adjustment bolts out and the pinchers so we can remove the cable and get the brake pads out. All right, welcome back. We are changing the handbrake disc pads on the 1962 Citroen. We're gonna have to remove some of this piping and ductwork to make us a little bit more room, and then I will show you a close-up of what this area is going to look like, and then we'll get into it. We're going to start removing the cable from this thing. We've loosened the lock nut, turning it off back here. Lots of sharp edges on these little cars. Okay, one nut down. Let's see if we can get the other one off. Looks like this one's going to be a little easy on me for a change. 2 nuts down. Cable is out. And now we've got to go ahead and loosen the mounting bolts, and just using, let's see here, yeah. All right, there's the mounting bolt with the tensioner nut. Let's get the other side. Probably not near as much fun. Good. All right, this is pretty much ready to come off of here. Yes. There we go. These bad boys is what holds the pads into place. Well, this is where you adjust the pads using tensioners and a mounting bolt, and that's how you move it in and out. All right, these are little pads, just like just about the size of a quarter, a little bit more than a quarter. Here's an old one from when we took off on the other side, and they're just press fitted into this area right here. So we're gonna have to just basically prod at it for a little while and get it to release. Shouldn't be too bad, hopefully. The other one wasn't terrible. We got one out. What do you think of that, huh? Pretty hard steel here. You don't have to worry about marring it up or anything too bad, because it's pretty darn hard steel. Let's get the other one out of here. All right, we're using a little bit of a special tool here. I'll show y'all in a minute. Get in and out of this pocket. A little bit of a special tool, a little pry bar, the shape of a U. Here we go. Here's the other one. What we're going to do, take a few minutes, wipe down these areas, and put this in. All right, we got the new pads, metal backings, asbestos on the pads or whatever they make this stuff out of anymore. I don't believe it's asbestos anymore, so everything's asbestos free these days. So you go ahead and put these bad boys right back where they came. Well, they're just press fit, a lot easier to get in than they are to get out. There we go. And we will put the tensioner arms back into place. Make sure that everything is freewheeling here. Make sure that everything turns. It does, because that will affect the adjustment. My hand as far as we can go. All right. The next one. All right, we get the next one. We're gonna the other side. Gonna slide it into place and get it started. Okay. Just hand tight to get things going. And we'll get the cable ran back through. And the spring in place. Okay. Spring is in place. Fish the cable through. Make sure. And it is. It's all the way through. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Take our nuts and bolts. A lot of times in these older cars, you'll see 2 bolts, 2 nuts on one's a thin one and one's a standard size bolt. So the thin one's a lock bolt. So you tighten this on and you twist them together and they stay locked into place. All right, that's pretty much it for the mechanical side of it. We're going to get ready to adjust the handbrake. Make sure we fix the handbrake and that the pads were the problem, and the cable's not stretched too far, hopefully. So we'll be right back. All right, so what I've done here is using these eccentric nuts right here. I have adjusted them. We're figuring about 4 thousandths in gap. These, you don't want hardly any movement on these. You don't want these rubbing like if it's this old American muscle car, it wouldn't matter so much. But because it is such a small engine with small brakes, it does matter. So we tightened them up to where it just touched the brakes. Then we loosened it to where it released, where you can just barely hear it. Then we actuated the handbrake to make sure that we had all the cable taken out of the slack taken out of the cable, and we redid it. So it's pretty good. You are hearing a constant rub, so that's good. So you know your rotor is not warped, so that's a good thing. And we're gonna go ahead and get ready to put this car back together again. All right, we're back. We've got the deux chevaux ready to, the pads replaced. There's a little, what I found in adjusting these handbrake is tried several different methodologies, and what I felt was best for me in this car was pull the handbrake up 2 clicks, 3 clicks, and then adjust the camber adjustment, the spring camber adjustment until it started dragging. And then I went and then pulled the handbrake 5 clicks and then adjusted again the camber adjustment until it grabbed pretty stoutly. And went in, stepped on the brakes, make sure everything was free with everything off, and it was. And it worked out great. So I say that even though it took me about 3 or 4 times to get it right. All that, we're gonna put this car back together the way we took it apart and send the deux chevaux home. I hope you had a great day, and I hope you learned something.